in lines. Not us, that's for sure. Welcome back to Earstravagant Adventures. I'm your host and travel agent bestie, Rachel, alongside Katie, a self-proclaimed princess that never waits in lines.
Never.
And today we're bringing you insider tips, park hacks, and a whole lot of pixie dust. We are diving into the Lightning Lane Multipass system, from how it works to what's changed and why it matters for your next Disney trip. We've got everything you need to know, so grab your favorite Mickey-shaped snack, open up the My Disney Experience app, and let's jump into the Lightning Lane magic. But first, thank you to our sponsor, Alonzi Travel, the ultimate family theme park experts. Planning theme park trips can be overwhelming, but Alonzi Travel is here to make it stress-free. With our years of experience, we're your Lightning Lane to hassle-free travel. We handle all the details, allowing you to focus on having fun with your loved ones. So whether you dream of Hogwarts or Walt Disney World, we've got it covered, tailoring the trip to your family's needs. Visit alonzi-travel.com/take the trip for a magical adventure. Trip. Let me slow it down because I talk really fast, and that way you got it. But everything is in the show notes. So if I still talk too fast for you and you didn't catch what I said, check out the show notes. That's where the links are for all Katie's stuff, all my stuff, and the link, all the stuff.
And you're going to want to after this conversation, and you're going to realize how much you need us to navigate the Multipass system.
Because you can watch a million videos on Lightning Lane Multipass. Everybody's going to explain it slightly different. But the reality is we hold all of our clients' hands, and they are pros by the time they go on their trip. And they come back and say, we had such a great time. We did everything we wanted. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Literally check our reviews.
check the receipts because we got them.
So first, Katie, what is Lightning Lane Multipass?
Lightning Lane Multipass is Disney's updated ride reservation system that allows guests to book multiple Lightning Lane experience in advance before their park day even begins. Instead of having to wake up early each day like you did with Genie Plus, you can now pre-select up to 3 attractions per day ahead of time. This is a paid system, just like Genie Plus was a paid system.
Now, I want to put a pause really quick because we've said Disney. So Walt Disney World and Disneyland both have Lightning Lane Multipass. However, at Disneyland, you do not pre-select your attractions as of this air date. I don't imagine that's going to change. But as of today, with Lightning Lane Multipass at Disneyland, you don't make any selections until everyone in your party has scanned into the park. So everything we're going to talk about today, majority of it is going to apply to Walt Disney World. The systems have the same names. The in-park functionality is the same, but Disneyland, you do not make pre-selections.
Great point. Yeah. It was basically just a name change only when we had the changes to the Lightning Lane system for Disneyland.
Which, Katie, how is this different from the old Genie Plus system?
Great that you asked that.
Perfect segue.
With Genie Plus selections, they were made the day of. So everybody, if you've been to Disney since 2021, you were used to waking up at 7 a.m. If you were like me, you told your children not to speak, not to move, not to breathe because you were on your phone and you were getting that first Lightning Lane selection and you were only getting one for the day. Okay. With Multipass, you make it before your vacation even starts. So you can reserve 3 attractions versus the one with Genie Plus. So it's already a better system. We've been operating this system since July. We love it. Guests love it. Clients love it. Much needed update to the Genie Plus system.
Yeah, so this is actually, for those of you OG Disney people, this is like the FastPass Plus system. So pre-2020, FastPass Plus RIP was a free system. And how that worked is you would make 3 selections in advance. And then the difference that back then was you had to use all 3 before you could make any more selections. We'll get to that, don't worry. But the pre-selection process, especially with the tiers, which we're about to get into, is basically a copy paste of FastPass Plus. So if you're familiar at all with how FastPass Plus worked, this is very, very similar to that. Everyone that I've talked to, I think, Katie, you agree, we like Lightning Lane Multipass better than Genie Plus.
There is one caveat that I still miss, which was the stacking, where, you know, the way the redemption worked. But I will tell you, after now having multiple trips and being able to do my Lightning Lane 7 days in advance, I jumped ahead, but it is really, really nice. It is nice to not have that 7 a.m. panic every single day of your vacation, because one day you might want to sleep in.
Well, and to guaranteed have the 3 that you want, you're always going to want to do more than 3 attractions, but at least having 3, you know, for sure you're going to get to see and not have to be on your phone to fix, because that was my biggest complaint with Genie Plus, is I had to be on my phone way more. I do feel like I'm on my phone a lot less with Lightning Lane Multipass, which to me, I try to be unplugged on vacation. So to not be on my phone constantly, this I feel like is better for that. Do you agree?
I agree. The past couple trips, I felt like, and that's something I wanted to touch on later in the thing, because that's one of the biggest questions I get from clients all the time is, how much am I going to be on my phone? How much am I going to be on my phone? Am I going to feel like I'm disconnected from my family? I am really only on my phone in the line. Like when after I scan into a ride, I'm on there, I'm checking, and that's it. So a lot less phone time for sure.
So we kind of already said it, but let's make sure we're super clear with the bullet points. When can we make Lightning Lane Multipass selections at Walt Disney World?
If you are a on-site resort guest, 7 days prior to check-in. If you were staying off property or live in Orlando, 3 days before your visit. Okay. So big perk to staying on property, because let me tell you, 3 days out, a lot of the good rides and times are already booked up. It's looking at you, Slinky Dog Dash. Yeah. The 7 days out it's always Slinky Dog Dash. The 7 days out is really, really a game changer versus the 3 days out. 3 days out is not, it's not good.
No, it's not, especially like, even if maybe you got the attraction, the time that you want, especially like Remy's and Frozen, like you're not going to get the times you want. Now, we've already kind of said it a couple times, so we'll just reiterate. You can, at the 7-day mark for on-site guests, because we highly recommend you stay on site, you can make 3 attractions per 3 selections per park. All those selections have to all be in the same park. However, there are tiers. Do you want to explain the tiers for us?
So the tier system means that the most popular attractions are on a tier 1. So for your pre-selects, and this is only for pre-selects, you can only do 1 tier 1 attraction. Okay. Animal Kingdom is the exception to this. Animal Kingdom does not have tiers, and it's a free-for-all. You can book whatever you want
as of today, because I bet you when the new stuff opens, they'll add tiers.
Possibility. I mean, yeah, I can see it. So for Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Epcot, there are tier attractions, which means you can only book 1 of those and 2 tier 2s. So example of some tier 1 attractions, Slinky Dog. Let's see. Rock and Roller Coaster.
No.
Remy's Frozen.
Hollywood Studios is a bad one. You know I hate Hollywood Studios. Magic Kingdom is going to be Peter Pan, Tiana's, Space Mountain, Jungle Cruise, and Big Thunder Mountain. Those are there. At Epcot, it's
Thorin,
Remy's, Frozen.
Test Track when it's open.
Yeah, but that's not open. I don't remember Hollywood Studios. I always have to refer back.
I can do it.
Can you?
I can. It is Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Slinky Dog Dash, Rock and Roller Coaster, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. That's them.
So
And then Animal Kingdom, No Tears.
Right. So you can select one of those and then two from the others. Now, it's really important. You can't the day of, if you haven't scanned into your attraction, you can't change a tier 2 for a tier 1. You can't get another tier 1 until you have used your first selection. So, let's move on. Yeah, let's say that we're in the park, all right? So, our first lightning lane, let's hypothetically say, is Haunted Mansion at 9:30. What happens? What do we do? Walk up to the attraction. What do we do?
So we're going to walk up at 9:30. We are going to scan in with your magic band, with your key to the world, with your phone, however you are using to get into the park. That's also how you scan into your lightning lanes. As soon as you have hit scan and everybody has turned green, as long as there are not 2 scan points in that line, because certain lines have 2 scan points. Slinky Dog looking at you again because it has 2 scan points.
Face.
You can open the app and you can make another selection. At this point, the world is your oyster. You can do another tier 1. You can book for another park. You can do whatever you want to do. The stipulations are only for the pre-selects. You can also go in and modify your previous tier 2 selections for another tier 1.
If you want to do that.
If you want to. If you're happy with what you have, you don't have to do that. But say like you have one for Beauty and the Beast sing along at Hollywood Studios, and you scan into your first attraction, and then you're like, you know what? I'm changing Beauty and the Beast to Mickey and Minnie's. You can do that.
You do. And still get another one because you changed.
And still get another one. Yes. So the goal here is to always have 3 booked, because you are going to use one and then you are immediately going to book your next one. So you will always have 3 rides lined up at any given time that you know you're going to get to skip the wait on. Now, when you get later in the day and the rides all kind of book up, which is evening time, like 6, 7 o'clock, you may not have 3 at that time, but you're always going to have 3. One caveat that I forgot to put in the show notes is you can only use it 1 time per ride per day. So it's not like you can ride Haunted Mansion at 9:30 and then book another Haunted Mansion. You're not going to be able to do the ride more than once with a lightning lane. You are welcome to get in the standby line and ride it again, but you can't book multiple lightning lanes for the same attraction.
Now, the other thing about the usage is we said 9:35. So your window starts at 9:35 and it ends at 10:35. You also have a grace period on either end, but we are going to stick to the official information. So you can scan in at 9:35. You have until 10:35, and they give you a little bit more leeway on the back end, especially if you have a dining reservation or things like that. But you have any time during that hour. So if
they don't give you leeway on the front end.
No,
take it from me.
Absolutely not.
Because I have stood at an attraction for 10 minutes waiting, to be able to scan.
There is leeway on the back end, like I said, especially if you have a dining reservation and you can show that you had a dining reservation. They're more lenient on the back end, but you can show up anytime within that hour, anytime.
I'm going to add this because I get asked this a lot, and I did not put it in our bullet points, is how long do the lightning lanes take? Like, how long can you expect to be waiting in line in a lightning lane? I would say from personal experience, the max I've ever waited in a lightning lane was 20 minutes. And that is because that attraction went down while I was in the lightning lane. What about you?
Agreed. It's usually between 5 and 10 minutes.
It's usually 5 or 10. It's usually like a walk-on situation. Like, it's just as long as it takes you to get through the queue is how long it's going to take you to get on the attraction.
Now, a question I get asked a lot before we get into the super nitty-gritties is, well, what if I don't want to ride a ride? Okay. So, for example, at Hollywood Studios, there's lots of rides that I won't ride. So, during the pre-selection process, you want to select the same thing for everybody. So, if it's a party of 2, it's a party of 5, it's a party of 10. You want the same, just to make it easy on yourself, pick the same thing for everybody. Once you're done purchasing all your Lightning Lane Multipasses, making all your selections, then you can go in and modify for a single person. Now this, or more than one person. So let's say your party of 5 and 2 people don't want to do Tower of Terror. They're going to go do Beauty and the Beast instead, because Beauty and the Beast is right by Tower of Terror. It makes sense. So you can modify for those specific people, but it's best to do any modifications after you've booked everybody.
Yes.
Book everybody for everything at the same time. Then go in and modify. You can modify. And then same with in park. So, in park, now everybody wants to ride Rock and Roller Coaster. Catch me not ever riding Rock and Roller Coaster. So I am not going to be selected on the people that are booking Rock and Roller Coaster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to book myself for Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Show instead. So I'm going to go watch the stunt show while you guys are riding Rock and Roller Coaster. We both get to use a Lightning Lane Multipass for that, but I'm not having to waste one on a ride that I'm not going to ride.
It's super, super helpful, especially if you've got kids that are not going to be the same height requirement. You've got chickens like Rachel. She's speaking from personal experience from when we went to Hollywood Studios together in February.
I also did this exact same thing when I went in April with my friend. So
this is her basic trip every time. Well, y'all can go do that, and she modifies over here to go do what she wants to do. And it's super, super nice. Modify. The word modify in general is your best friend with this system, because you can make it do almost anything you want it to do if you can modify those lightning lanes.
Yeah, but I think it's important to just point out that you don't have to make everybody do the same lightning lane if they don't want to. So there is that freedom in that. That is a little more complex. And if that's something that you guys want more details on, that is something we coach our clients on, and like we show you step by step how to do it. We're not doing that here because we're just not. But
we're just chatting.
We're just chatting, so it's a possibility. But we do have some tutorials in our tutorial library for lightning lane, so you can kind of see that stuff. It's in our channels library. But the next big question, Katie, what's the difference between Lightning Lane Multipass and Lightning Lane Single Pass?
So, at each park, the very most popular, debatable attractions, are not included in Multipass. And I think this is where people get confused the most, is the difference between Multipass and Single Pass. So the Single Pass is for, like I said, what Disney considers the top tier, the e-ticket attractions. They are not included, and you can only skip the line for these attractions at another additional cost, which is called a Lightning Lane Single Pass. Okay. You can book these the same way. So you're going to book them 7 days out if you're on-site resort guest, 3 days out for everybody else. The price varies per attraction, per day. And there are currently, for Single Pass, there is Cosmic Rewind, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind in Epcot, Avatar Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom. Knocked over my microphone. Star Wars Rise of the Resistance at Hollywood Studios. And for Magic Kingdom, even though I disagree with this 150%, there are 2. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
So wait time to say otherwise.
I know. I know that Seven Dwarfs is still popular enough that they can justify it, but I just think it overly complicates things, and that Seven Dwarfs should be a tier 1.
Which I think I might have talked over you. So the 2 at Magic Kingdom is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Tron Light Cycle Run. And you did actually bring up something that we didn't talk about, and I don't see it on here.
Pricing for Multipass.
Yes. So we will never have the pricing far in advance. Disney doesn't release pricing until about 3 weeks in advance. So you do have like 3 weeks to see it. It is subject to which park you're going to, demand, and the general date. However, for Lightning Lane Multipass, the range is $25 to $40 per person per day plus tax.
That's right.
Lightning Lane Single Pass can be anywhere from $12 to $30 per person, per attraction, per day, plus tax.
Plus tax.
Plus tax. So.
What I tell people to keep in mind, because a lot of people, when we are looking at vacation packages, which we are doing right now because 2026 was just released, so we've got a lot of people planning for 2026, is they want to know if they can prepay for this. You cannot, but I give them a cut.
Unless you're going to Disneyland.
Unless you're going to Disneyland, you can put it in your package.
You can add Lightning Lane Multipass onto your park ticket, and it will guarantee your pricing, because it does fluctuate at Disneyland as well. However, you will lock in the lowest price with Lightning Lane Multipass at Disneyland. At Disneyland, not at Walt Disney World.
But what I do for my clients who, when you're looking at the vacation, they want to ballpark for this, we kind of do an estimate based on historical pricing. And I tell them, when you're putting back and saving for your trip, go ahead and put this amount back, so that you have it ready to go 7 days prior to check-in. So it's not really sneaking up on you.
Yeah. So Lightning Lane Multipass pricing at Disneyland is anywhere from 20. I think the pricing is the same for both Multipass and Single Pass. At Disneyland, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is the Single Pass at Disneyland, and Radiator Springs Racers is the Single Pass at California Adventure. So those are the only two. I do also want to point out the best thing about Multipass at Disneyland is it does include PhotoPass.
It does.
It does. And for me, I don't care how many rides I get now at Disneyland, because it includes PhotoPass, it immediately makes sense, because PhotoPass by itself at Disneyland can get kind of expensive. So having it included with Lightning Lane Multipass is a game changer. There's other things that are included with Lightning Lane Multipass that nobody cares about, like the audio tails and stuff. Nobody cares about that. But PhotoPass,
for Walt Disney World, your ride photos are included. So you're not going to be able to walk up to a photographer and take a picture. But if you ride Tron and you have a Single Pass for it, you're going to get those photos.
Yes. Yes. So we do have one additional tier of passes, paid for passes. So Katie, what's the difference between Lightning Lane Multipass and Lightning Lane Premier Pass?
Premier Pass is the best one, the most expensive one. Yes. If you don't want to deal with any of the things we just talked about, if you do not want to touch your phone, if you do not want to schedule anything in advance, if you just want to walk into the park and say, I want to ride that one, that is Premier Pass. Premier Pass gives you the ability to skip all the lines at participating attractions in a specific park one time per day. No pre-scheduling, no work in the app, no extra cost for Single Pass. It is amazing. I haven't used it. Rachel has used it. I've had several clients that have used it, and they rave about it. Because you literally, if you want to walk into Magic Kingdom and you want to start in Tomorrowland and just go in a circle, you can. You can just go from ride to ride to ride and just get on every single Lightning Lane.
Well, and I'll speak from experience, because we did it at Magic Kingdom the day after Marathon weekend. So it was actually quieter than we expected. But from a price standpoint, it can range anywhere from $199 to $500. I think
$199 is too low.
I think that's Animal Kingdom pricing.
It was definitely Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom's always going to be your lowest for all of the prices.
So the range, I'm going to just say the range is $200 to $500, because I know Animal Kingdom has been lower, but this is going to vary heavily on what park you're going to, plus what day. So just to give you a real example, we went to Magic Kingdom in January, the day after the marathon, and we paid $389 per person plus tax. Now, do I think that price is incredibly high? Yes. Do I think that it is in line with other places like Universal? Also, yes. This product is also in use in the international parks. So this isn't new. This is definitely something they have in Paris as well as Tokyo and Hong Kong. Like, they are international parks. I was obsessed with it, actually.
Yeah.
I loved it. We had early breakfast, but we did breakfast. We normally wouldn't do breakfast, but we did Crystal Palace and we had a nice time. And then we just did every attraction, starting in Adventureland, moving all the way over, and we ended with Tron. And we rode Tron at night. It was perfect. Tron wait was like 10 minutes. And we did everything. I think the only attractions, I swear to you, we did every attraction. And I think the only one we didn't do teacups.
Yeah, because that makes you sick.
Right. So I think because we even did the Speedway, we did Laugh Floor. No, we didn't do Laugh Floor. So we didn't do teacups and we didn't do Laugh Floor, but we did everything else. And we started our day, let's say it was at 10 because we had breakfast. Yeah. And then we had to leave at like 5:30 because we had dinner at Artist Point. Mm-hmm. Storybook. So we weren't even there the full day, and we did everything. Now I will say we did skip the character meet and greets, which was a little bit of a bummer for me, but we paid for the ride, so we're gonna do the rides. Yeah. But we did everything. We did everything, and you can do. I feel like it makes it more. So you can do things at a more leisurely pace. So it's like, oh, okay, we'll scan in. And it's still the same way. You still scan in, but you don't have to be on your app and book the next thing. So you just scan in and then, let's go do Tiki Room now. Because it's right there. Let's go do Tiki Room.
You're just following the natural progression of the park.
Right. So then you're also walking less because you're just going where you want to go and the time frame that you want to do. And you're not worried about anything. So yes, it is expensive. We're not going to sit here and lie to you about that because that would be a disservice. It is expensive. It's less expensive than a VIP tour, though.
It is less expensive than a VIP tour, and VIP tours have the time constraint on it. You know, so this is all day from park open till park close. You have this service to use. I will point out once again. Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Yeah.
We'll say it because I whispered it, so you say it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't have to tell me what to say it because I already know. You can only use it on one attraction. Okay, so you cannot ride Tron 12 times in a row, and you cannot park hop with it. So if you purchase it for Magic Kingdom, you are at Magic Kingdom all day. You cannot park hop. There has been a lot of outcry about this. I do feel like Disney will probably roll out a park hopper Premier Pass eventually, but I shudder to think of how expensive that would be because I would imagine it's going to be over $500 every day. No matter if you go in September, I would imagine it's over $500 per person per day. So
yeah, I wanted to make sure we said that before we moved on because sometimes our brain ping pongs all over the place.
No, I had it. I was like waiting for you to stop talking so I could say there was no park hopping.
Yes, there's no park hopping, which is like the biggest bumski about it. But I wish I didn't like it as much as I did.
But if we're talking Premier Pass, right there, for me personally, and what I tell my clients, there's only two parks that I would purchase Premier Pass for. Number one being Magic Kingdom, because it has the most things to do. Number two being Hollywood Studios, because Hollywood Studios is the hardest park to work Multipass in, because it has so many top tier attractions and so many people want to ride the same things. And it honestly doesn't have that many attractions, but they're all bangers. In my opinion, not in Rachel's opinion. It's just not her.
But I would agree with that if you like roller coasters. So if roller coasters are your thing and you want to do Hollywood Studios, absolutely. I do think it'll be worth it when Animal Kingdom's construction is done. Because they'll have aside from Zootopia replacing its Stuff to Be Bug, they're going to have 3 new attractions that are going to be hopefully bangers back in that area. So I think Animal Kingdom would be a good one. When it's currently no, but that's also why Animal Kingdom is on the lower end. Like I think I've seen Animal Kingdom at $179 because Disney knows that. Disney knows it doesn't have as many attractions and stuff. So there's multiple levels of that. And then Premier Pass is also at Disneyland. So That is a thing there as well. It works the same. Having freedom to not be on your phone.
You can park hop at the Disneyland one, right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
I think you're wrong.
You're gonna look at me and tell me I'm wrong? Like I haven't had anybody purchase it for Disneyland yet. So I need to know this now.
Well, we're looking.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the next thing while I'm looking this up.
Okay. All right. As we've said a lot, let's go all the way back now to Multipass, okay? Because you do not need a strategy for Premier Pass. You just buy it and go have the best day ever. All right. What type of strategy do you need to successfully operate Multipass in the parks? Number one thing you need to know is what rides and attractions your group wants to do. So I know this sometimes gets tricky. I have a lot of families that surprise their kids with Disney trips and they do not have any input from the kids before the trip. But if you're not surprising them, I highly recommend having a conversation with your kids, with your group, whoever is going to Disney, to determine what rides and attractions are most important to you. The rides, the lightning lanes will book up. I'm trying to gather my thoughts because now I can't stop thinking about the park.
I think it's for both, because when you go to select Premier Pass, it only gives you the day option. It doesn't make you pick a park.
Yeah, okay. I thought
and
so.
it doesn't say specifically on the website.
I think that like there was like a 2-week gap when they first announced it, and then they're like, oh yeah, well, you can park hop. Like I think they rolled it back. They were like, oh, that doesn't make any sense at Disneyland because the parks are a 5-minute walk from each other. Yeah. So I think that's okay. Anyway, let's go back to multi-pass strategy. So the more popular attractions, they are going to book up. Okay. And generally they book up in the same order. All right. So you need to be aware of what rides are going to sell out the fastest, because like say your child's wish is to ride Slinky Dog and they have to ride Slinky Dog or the whole trip is going to be ruined. You cannot wait to make your Slinky Dog your second or third selection once you're in the park. That has to always be a pre-select selection. Okay. Once again, one of the main reasons that you should work with us, or whoever you like, but us, is because we have guides that tell you what rides book up the fastest. We have guides that would tell you, my brain just.
I mean, it's not even that we have guides, because we have helpful guides for everything. The thing is,
itineraries. That's what I was about to say.
No, what I'm about to say is we talk to you. Mm-hmm. So I always have a call with my clients before this, and they say, well, we think we want to pre-select Peter Pan, Dumbo, and It's a Small World. And I say, great, I love that for you. 2 of those, you have plenty of same day availability. So exactly. I would definitely use Multipass for those. Absolutely. I would not use those as your pre-selects, because you'll be able to book those same day, even in the evening. I'm not worried about that. What are some other attractions that you might want to ride so we can prioritize? Because It's a Small World can absolutely be somebody's top pick of an attraction. I totally agree. But maybe your third pick is Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, Pirates of the Caribbean may book up faster than It's a Small World, so you should prioritize. So aside from our guides, because our guides are great, but it's us having a conversation with you.
Yeah. And, I was telling a client today, because she's on the fence about whether she's doing Multipass or not. And I was like, when did you book your final itinerary review? And it's like 2 days before her Multipass purchase date. I said, perfect. We're going to discuss all this in detail, like to see if you actually need it, to feel out how well you can use the system and see what your must-dos are. Because there's some people they don't have to do it. Their must-dos don't require Multipass. The average family, though, I would say you are going to benefit tremendously from using Multipass on your trip.
Well, I think we are both in alignment, and we've kind of said this anyways. Like, I don't force people to do anything that they want to do,
No.
but I highly encourage Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. Epcot and Animal Kingdom, that's a conversation. But and if it's your first trip, like we'll get into it when we go to our picks. But Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, if you're going there, I feel like you need it. I'm not going to force you to buy that if you don't want to, because it's your vacation, and managing expectations, as long as you know you'll be waiting in lines, it's fine. But Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, for the reasons we've mentioned, Magic Kingdom has the most attractions. Hollywood Studios, not as many attractions, but they're all popular. So to make the most of your day, those two parks, I just feel like are a must.
100%. I buy it for every park because I am a princess and I'm not going to wait in line, but most people can get away with a good early entry strategy. You're okay at Epcot. You can.
Well, and before we do the what do we pick for ourselves, my other strategy, in case you didn't already say it, because I was trying to figure out the Premier Pass, book the Lightning Lane return times for as early in the day as possible. Did you say that?
No, I did not. Absolutely.
Okay. So, and sometimes the earliest in the day, like for Frozen, is 2 p.m. But your other attractions, you can book them at maybe 9 or 10. That way, like we said, you use one, you get one, you use one, you get one. So if all of your Lightning Lane multi-passes don't start until the afternoon, you can't get any more until the afternoon. So and it'll automatically populate times. It'll automatically populate to avoid any dining reservations you have. But sometimes you can modify the times to fit better, but try and have them in the beginning half of the day.
And that's a great point that you bring up, because if something happens, if you are booked on your own and you don't have anybody assisting with you or making these selections for you, and you forget, you didn't get on right at 7 a.m., you got on at 10 a.m., and you have crappy times. Those times are not set in stone. You now have 7 days for any time you think of it to pick up that phone and try to modify those times up. There's not a lot of availability that will drop in that 7-day period, but you may have people who change their plans. But the day of your trip, the day you are going to that park, they are going to release more availability. So all throughout the day, things are constantly changing. Things are being released. So if you have like a 8 p.m., Mickey and Minnie's, and you know that your toddlers are not going to be awake at that time, you can, while you're in line, sit with your phone and modify that time. Just modify. And we've got video. You have a video you said on the playlist of how to modify. And like I said, it's included in all our guides, and we make sure our clients understand how to modify. If there's anything you need to know, it is modify.
Well, or if your times are fine, if you're like they're fine, you don't need to know how to modify, because I book Lightning Lanes for my clients, and I make sure they're optimized. Yeah. If you're not full, I'm
not full.
Yeah. I book them for them, and I always make sure to have the earliest times available. And that way, because most of my clients don't want to mess with things. Some people do. Katie is queen of modify. Me, I'm like, I booked them at the times that I feel like are fine. I don't have issues with these times, so I'm just going to let it be.
It's like a game to me.
Yeah. Well, and it just goes back to, it's the kind of vacation that you want. So if you're like, my times are fine, they're not perfect, but they're fine, then don't worry about modifying things. It's just going to irritate you. But if you have an 8 p.m. Mickey and Minnie's and your kids aren't going to be awake, then absolutely get in there and try and see if you can get better times. But if you don't want to deal with that, then don't.
Yeah. And I mean, if you because it's going to give you, when you make your pre-selects, it's going to give you an automatic 1 hour time. If you're 9, 10, 11, you're gold. Go into the parks and have fun. Perfect. That's just if something happens and you can't get what you want, you do have options.
Right. Yeah. So what do we pick for ourselves? Let's start with Magic Kingdom. Katie,
Okay.
what are your 3 pre-selects for Magic Kingdom?
Tiana's every time, even in the dead of winter. I don't care. Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Haunted Mansion, and Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are mine. Pirates, probably you don't need a pre-select. It doesn't book up as fast, but it's my comfort ride. It's my favorite, so I book it for myself. What about you for Magic?
For Magic, my tier 1 will depend. It's either going to be Space Mountain or Big Thunder, but Big Thunder's closed right now, so it's always going to be Space. Unless I'm with someone who hasn't been, then I may choose Peter Pan. Maybe. But it's never going to be Tiana's. And then my tier two are the same. It's always Haunted Mansion. It's always Pirates, because Haunted Mansion is my comfort ride, and I love Pirates. And they do go, okay, this is where we get into like some client things. Winnie the Pooh and Voyage of the Little Mermaid do also book up really quickly. So sometimes if like I have one friend who really loves Winnie the Pooh. So I would switch out Haunted for Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Not Haunted. Pirates for Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Because I know Pirates I can get later in the day, but Winnie the Pooh, I don't know what, you guys, but Winnie the Pooh will go.
It is definitely like when I write strategy for a client and I'm telling them like, if it's not their if it's not in their pre-selects, I'm like, that's your second pick. Don't worry about Space Mountain. Get Winnie the Pooh for some reason. It's crazy to me because, I'm a Pooh hater.
Yeah. So Pooh is not like, if I was picking just for me, it would be Space or Big Thunder, Haunted and Pirates. Yeah.
All right.
But
Hollywood.
How about Hollywood Studios? So for me, always Slinky Dog.
Always
Slinky Dog. Toy Story Mania, always Toy Story Mania. And then tier 3, I go back and forth. Sometimes I'll do Indiana Jones. Sometimes I'll do Beauty and the Beast. I might add Alien Swirling. That was fun. I actually like vibed with Alien Swirling Saucers.
I don't mind Alien Swirling Saucers. Like if I don't have to wait for it,
I don't mind it at all. Silly. Like I was vibing. So, but those are mine because I don't ride roller coasters. So what are yours?
Rachel said tier 3 on accident. There is no tier 3. She just meant her third pick. There is no tier 3. Don't want to confuse anybody. Slinky Dog, always. Okay. Every single time, Slinky Dog. Tower of Terror and Toy Story Mania. Woo!
So we're basically the same with everything. Animal, and I will say actually, sometimes I will get a single pass for Tron. So I have decided that I can really only ride it at night. My body doesn't like going from dark to light. That kind of ruins the ride experience for me. So if I do feel like I want to do Tron, I will get a single pass for a night return time. I will not. You can't. If you pay me, maybe I'll get a single pass for Rise of the Resistance. Maybe I'll get a single pass for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but you got to pay me. I'm not paying money for those.
I have purchased one time but I agree with you on Tron to get it at night. Like that tracks 100%. It's a better experience at night. When it was just me and my daughter and Seven Dwarfs was like $11, I'm like, you know what? Why not? Why not?
Well, but we have been many times. If this was my first trip and my kids were super excited about Seven Dwarfs, I would pay the money for Seven Dwarfs. If I was with a Star Wars fan, then I would pay for Rise of the Resistance. But I've ridden Rise of the Resistance several times, and for me, it's not worth it. However, I will tell my clients it is worth it because the ride experience is like 20 minutes long.
So good.
That one is like, it's a good return on investment. I've ridden it enough that I could care less. We also know I'm a heavy Star Wars hater. So my personal trips, it's a no.
And that's me. If I'm going with Rachel or if I'm going with my girls, I'm going with, not my family. I'm not going to pay for Rise. I've done it a lot. It is incredible. But if I'm going with my family, I don't have an option because the Star Wars nerds that live with me, it's non-negotiable. So I pay for that one.
Going into Animal Kingdom, I don't get multi-pass at Animal Kingdom, but I always will buy a single pass for Flight of Passage.
I am the opposite. This is funny. I'm going to rope drop Flight of Passage, and I'm not going to pay for it. I'm going to do a good early entry strategy, but I am going to pay for Multipass for Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, that's opposite because I will pay for Flight of Passage, and then we'll rope drop Navi, and then Everest, and then Safari.
I mean, but once again, it's one of those ones you could get away with not doing it. I just like to, I'm in 2 states of mind when I go to Animal Kingdom right now, as it operates right now with the imagining and everything. I either want to have multipass to get all the attractions done as quick as possible, so then we can chill in Animal Kingdom and walk, or I want to get all the attractions done so we can go back to the resort and go swimming. Like that's me with Animal Kingdom. I either like it's and I'm the same with Epcot. I get it for Epcot because I want to get the attractions done so quickly that then I can spend the rest of the day walking around World Showcase.
So what are your picks for your Animal Kingdom multi-pass?
Kilimanjaro Safari,
Obviously.
Expedition Everest, and Navi River Journey.
And those are the ones that I always recommend my clients to get when they book it, because duh.
Yeah.
Duh. Yeah. Epcot. So what are your selections for Epcot?
It depends on where I'm staying, man.
Okay.
What entrance am I coming in? Honestly.
Okay. Well, are you booking a single pass?
Oh yeah, I'm booking Cosmic Rewind every single time. Like that is my non-negotiable. It doesn't matter if I'm by myself. It doesn't matter when I'm with my family. I am booking Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind every single time. It is, if you are a coaster person, it is one of the most incredible experiences. So.
There's a long guy.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I guess that means
I thought the bug was back.
No, fantastic. You can't hear the long guy. I won't book single pass, but that's because the last time I rode Guardians of the Galaxy, it did make me kind of sick. So unfortunately, that's a no for me. However, everyone that travels with me love it. So we book it for everybody else because everybody else loves it. Mm-hmm. I don't book multipass for Epcot for myself because I know I'll be able to ride Spaceship Earth, Living with the Land, and Soarin', my tops, with low wait times depending on when I get into the park. Now, that being said, if I want to ride Remy's, I probably will get a multipass. I also am a Frozen hater, so I could care less about Frozen.
No,
I could care less. So if I want to ride Remy's, will I get multipass? And I don't always want to ride Remy's because, it depends on the kind of trip. But it sounds like Frozen is your top pick.
Well, like I said, it depends on where I'm coming in. If I'm staying where I'm coming into Epcot on International Gateway, which honestly is where we normally stay because we are Skyliner people. Like we're either at the Epcot resorts or we're on the Skyliner, and I can do early entry for Remy's, I'm going to book Frozen as my tier 1. If I'm coming in from the front of the park, I'm probably going to book Remy's as my tier 1. It changes depending on where I'm staying. And then honestly, it doesn't really matter what you make for your tier 2 selections at Epcot, but I would do Living with the Land and Spaceship Earth.
I know. Well, Spaceship Earth sometimes has gotten like 35-minute wait times, and it for no reason. So Spaceship Earth is always going to be mine. Spaceship Earth is I cannot go to Walt Disney without riding this ride.
Oh, it's nice to ride for me, but it's not one of those comfort rides.
No, it 100% is. I think it goes back to like my college program days.
Yeah. Honestly, Soarin' is more of a must-do for me. I could have a trip where I can skip Remy's or Frozen, but Soarin', I'm going to get it later in the day. Like if I have multipass strategy-wise, like you got to go with the Remy's or the Frozen because I'll be able to get a selection for Soarin' later on. But Soarin' is my non-negotiable, like for Epcot, for sure.
Spaceship Earth is mine. And Grand Fiesta Tour.
Great Fiesta Tour is not a Lightning Lane
It's
selection,
not a Lightning
or
Lane.
it would be on our list.
Right. Yeah, I think all
that's
of
also
Grand Fiesta Tour. There's no, you can't add a Lightning Lane to that ride.
there's no room for it.
And meeting Donald, like the things that are my non-negotiables. There,
Well,
most of them.
And I started to bring this up, and I should have mentioned it earlier with the changes from Genie Plus to the Lightning Lane system.
Insert. Can we rant about Lightning Lane Multipass right now? Because we are both about to say the exact same thing that makes us furious. Go.
They took away character meet and greets from the Lightning Lane selection. So when it was Genie Plus, you could schedule a time to go meet Mickey Mouse. You could schedule that time with Donald Duck. It makes me so mad that those are no.
Because the line still exists.
The line still exists. Like even the brand new Communicore Hall meet and greet that just opened right before this switched over, it has a Lightning Lane because I've been in it, because I used it the last time we used Genie Plus. And like that was an awesome option because there's 3 characters in that building. And it just
it like makes Fairy Tale Hall meeting the princesses.
That I'm not a character meet and greet person like Rachel is. I prefer to meet mine at character dining. Because if y'all have not figured out, Katie is a ride person. I am a go in the parks.
Sometimes Katie and I don't vacation well together.
Yeah, we don't. We can cruise well together, maybe. I think we could cruise well.
Yeah,
maybe. We'll see.
I you know, that's funny actually, because on the boat, I am pretty much like, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, but on Disney World, I'm like, no, I'm just vibes.
Yeah. I'm not vibes.
Yeah, so like my biggest pet peeve is like, you took this away, but what was the reason? Because the lines are still there. You're set up for this. That it's so annoying. And also, not as big of a pet peeve, but they took out the reserve seating for the fireworks and parades.
Yeah.
Which, what was the reason? I still have reserve seating at Beauty and the Beast. I still have reserve seating at Indiana Jones. Why can't I have it at Festival of Fantasy?
It makes no sense. And, you know, this system started middle of July 2024. As day of recording, we are end of April 2025. I thought they would have added them back in by now. I thought that it was an oversight. It was a test to the system. Let's see how the system runs. System ran great. It was one of the best rollouts that Disney has had in recent history. Give us our characters back. Give them back to us.
I think that's our biggest pet peeve.
Yeah.
I really don't feel like I have any other issues with it, because I don't mind booking 7 days in advance. I don't mind the times. I don't like nothing else really bothers me about it.
I will tell you one thing that does bother me about booking 7 days in advance, and this has come up with clients before, is when it was still Genie Plus, you had a little bit more flexibility. Like say you are down there and it's the day that you said you were going to go to Magic Kingdom, but it is pouring rain and you want to pivot and change that to a rest day or go to a different park. You've already pre-purchased those Lightning Lanes. I have been able to assist people with getting them moved. The only way you can do it is the chat feature in the app. But I do.
No, you can do it yourself.
You can do it yourself.
Yeah,
you can move them yourself.
In April, we didn't want to go do Tron anymore, and I could have changed the date. It was sold out. Yeah, but I could have changed the date. So, but if we're talking Multipass, you could change the date. The selections obviously would be subject to change, but you can change the date.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't either until I was messing with it and I saw that and I was like, oh, that's good to know. But that kind of segues into common mistakes is, I don't think you have it listed here, so I'll just say it. A common mistake is not booking a single pass, because Tron, Cosmic Rewind, Rise of the Resistance, those get booked up.
Yeah, they do.
There's a slim chance that you'll be able to get a same day booking for those because they're so incredibly popular. So if you think you're going to want to ride Tron, you need to book it 7 days in advance.
And you're going to get the best time. Like if you have to go back in and book them, you know, you're going to have what Tron you want an evening time. But, oh, that's a change that we didn't talk about. Used to with Genie Plus, when you booked your single pass, it just gave you a time, and now you can pick your time.
You could always pick your time.
Not in the very beginning. Not in the very beginning.
I did it.
I did it too, and you couldn't pick your time on your single pass in the very beginning.
Maybe not in the very, very beginning, but when it was still Genie Plus, you could do it.
Yes, by the end of it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
but
maybe not like the first month, but it was definitely, you could definitely do it.
The first time I used Genie Plus, which was,
but you used it like the first month, didn't you? I think you were one of the, I think you used it like in October, didn't you?
No, we went Christmas time.
No, you had a client. You had a client.
I'm so confused right now.
It's fine. It's not important.
Okay, moving on.
So for Lightning Lane Multipass, common mistakes to avoid. We're just going to fly through these because they should be self-explanatory.
And we talked about a lot of them already.
Yes. Booking the wrong date. Booking the wrong park for the wrong date. Not booking at the right time. So you miss good stuff. I'm going to skip that one for a second so you can talk about it more, because that one I think needs a little more information. This is huge. Not having your party linked correctly before you go in. So the reason we say this, like we said, you know, Katie and I, we have separate My Disney Experience accounts. But if we want to book our Lightning Lanes together, we have to be friends on the app so that way we can book our selections at the same time for the same stuff. And if you're booking on your own, I love you, mean it. Setting people up on My Disney Experience can be hard if you've never done it before.
Pain in the rear is what it is.
Yeah. That is something that we take care of for our clients because we know how important it is for things like sharing plans, sharing dining, booking Lightning Lane. So if you're not set up, let alone have the app installed, because, oh, by the way, we didn't mention, the only way you can purchase any Lightning Lane product is on the app.
Yep.
Then you're going to be SOL. So we help with all that. The next one, though, I don't agree with. Not setting up Genie pre-planning tool. I never use that.
I still use the pre-planning tool. My clients use the pre-planning tool, and it is helpful. And let me tell you why. Okay, so
why don't you even say what it is? Because we haven't even mentioned Genie.
I'm about to. Okay, so Genie pre-planning tool is the only thing that's left over from the Genie Plus, and it means that anytime from after, like, you could book a trip today with me. Don't book it yourself, book it with me, and I'll set up your My Disney Experience. You can go in to the Genie, summon Genie on the My Disney Experience app, select the date you want to go. It's a free service, and it's like a little click box questionnaire. Like, what are you interested in on doing on this day? Okay, so Genie will put it all together, and then he's going to give you suggestions of when to go ride this. Don't listen to him because he's wrong. Okay, that's not why we're messing with the Genie. Why we're messing with the Genie is because once you have selected, say, like, I go into Hollywood Studios and I say Toy Story, Mania, Alien Swirling Saucers, Millennium Falcon. When I go in to book my next selection, those things that I said were important to me are going to be at the top. So I don't have to go all the way down to the bottom past everything else for Millennium Falcon to show up, because it's going to be at the top. That is why it just saves you a couple of seconds. But
yeah, you see, I don't like it because my brain needs everything to be in alphabetical order. So I don't like that.
Oh, no, my chaos gremlin brain.
Right.
It's me all the time. Show me what I want to do. Show me to me, Rachel. Like, I don't want to see something that I'm not interested in.
Right. So that's important to note, is Genie is a free service and it will do those things for you. If you like that, I hated it. So because I know where to expect it in the lineup when I'm scrolling through, and if it changes, my organized, over-organized brain doesn't like it. So if you're an over-organized brain, you won't like it. If you're chaos demon, then you will love it. You will love it.
I am chaos demon. It is
so
always a very controlled chaos.
yes. And then the last one, tell us about canceling versus modifying.
Okay, so I recommend never canceling a lightning lane. So say you have decided that you don't want to do this, or it's too late in the day. It's kind of like what we talked about earlier, where you just grab a seat on a bench, you open that lightning lane up, and you refresh that screen. You hit modify and refresh that screen, Not only will it show you other times for that same attraction, but down at the bottom, it will say, would you like to pick another attraction? You can select that and say, you've figured out that your kid doesn't like a dark ride and you have Pirates booked. Well, you know what? We're going to change that and we're going to go do Dumbo instead. So I recommend never canceling them, always just changing everything from the modify screen.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. Unless you're leaving for the day, then, just cancel it so it'll open it up for somebody else.
Yeah, don't hoard them. I started to say hold and then I said hoard and it just didn't work. Oh, speaking of hoarders, let me throw this out there for best practice. If you are a dining reservation hoarder, which number one, we don't like you. If you're a dining reservation hoarder, if you still have all those many, many dining reservations on your My Disney experience when it's time to book your lightning lanes, you're going to have a bad day because this system is not going to let you overlap your plans. And if you have 5 Crystal Palaces on there for some reason, because you don't know what time you're going to want to go, good luck, because you're not going to be able to book any lightning lanes. It will not let you proceed. You will have to go out and cancel it. I had to go out for a client the other day because they were park hopping and we had a Garden Rocks package booked for 12 o'clock. And Disney was like, no, you can't book lightning lanes if they're going to be in Epcot at 12 o'clock. So I had to go in and cancel it. We got it back. But yeah.
So. Yeah, I mentioned that briefly, but it's good to circle back to that. If you have Bippity Boppity Boutique, if you have dining reservations, it's not going to let you, it will not let you overlap it. Even if you try, the time will be completely gone. Also, don't be a jerk face and hoard dining reservations.
We don't like it. We don't care for it.
No. But circle this all back to, we've mentioned it several times, but this is one of the big things that Katie and I specifically, we don't know about other travel agents. Everybody in our agency does have these conversations. So all Alonzi travel agents do this kind of assistance, but we don't want to speak for anybody else. We all help you with your lightning lanes. Not everybody books lightning lanes for you, but we'll at the very least have a conversation with you, tell you how to use it, show you how to use it, because for my clients, I'll pre-book them for you, but I also want you to know how to use it. So when you're in the parks, you know what you need to do, because we are not going to book this stuff for you when you're in the parks, because too many variables with your day. It's not a good business model. So you book your own stuff when you're in the park. We'll pre-reserve it for you. We'll help you figure out which attractions are the best fit for you. We'll help you figure out if you should use Lightning Lane Multipass at all at the parks, especially if you're going during Christmas. Spoiler alert, that's going to be a yes. We'll help you with figuring out what time you should get to the parks, full park planning strategy. That's what we do for you. So if you don't want any of that, cool. We're still here for advice and backup. What we like to say is we'll help you plan as much or as little as you want. So if you want to just bounce the ideas off of us and you end up booking it yourself, that's great. If you want us to book it for you, that's great. If you just want a support person, great. We've been and used and tested so much that we're happy to give our expertise to our clients. So when you're ready to book 2025 or now booking 2026, all of our stuff is in the show notes, our Instagram, our TikTok, our proposal forms, everything you need is in the link in bio. So when you're ready to make your vacation the best it's ever been, that's what we're here for.
That's us.
Yes. So until next time, thanks for joining us. I hope this lightning lane training video was helpful. I don't know what we're talking about next week, but you'll find out in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.